Hey guys, Omaha here. Today I am bringing you the best weapons in every Call of Duty multiplayer since Call of Duty 4. This video took me an insane amount of time to make, so if you enjoy it, please drop a like, and let's get into the content. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. For this one, I gotta go M16. Everybody that's played this game knows that I was gonna pick M16. If you didn't know that, you probably didn't play the game. Let's be real. This gun was head and shoulders above everything else in the game. It probably would have its own tier in a tier list. Had high rate of fire, extremely low recoil, only needed 2 rounds to connect to get the kill. You could compete with snipers at the longest of ranges. It had a decent hip fire, so you could compete with shotguns at the closest of ranges. It also came on a default class that had stopping power built in as well, which is what I'm using here in the video. So it was easily accessible. There really weren't a lot of downsides for this gun, if any at all. Now luckily we didn't have the SBMM back then that we do nowadays, otherwise all you'd see are 6 stacks of sweat lords running this gun with stopping power and 3 times frags. There's going to be a lot of guns on this list that are objectively the best gun in the game. There really isn't a lot of competition. This is one of those games. Other games, it's going to be a lot harder to choose between some guns because there was a lot of competition. This gun is easily one of the best guns in COD history. Hey guys, just want to take a moment to thank absolutely nobody for sponsoring this video. Next we have World at War, and this one I obviously got to go for the MP40. The MP40 was just like the M16, so dominant, it was head and shoulders above everything else. Did about 59 damage, so it only took 2 rounds to kill without stopping power. Really, its only downside was a little bit of side-to-side recoil, so at the longest ranges, maybe you could beat it. But everything else, man, you're gonna have a hard time competing with this gun unless you run the gun itself. This thing had a 64-round magazine, little to no recoil besides the side-to-side horizontal recoil that I mentioned. Again, it was a 2-shot kill in core and a 1-shot kill to the head with stopping power on. The hip fire on this thing was insane. And yeah, there was really nothing you could beat it with, unless you were at the farthest of ranges across maybe CeeLo or something like that. If you ask anybody about World at War, the first thing they probably think of is the MP40, the stopping power. Releasing a gun like this nowadays would have the community in absolute shambles. And this was back when they didn't really nerf anything in Call of Duty. So, even today, when you go back and play, it's still just as dominant as it was back when it first came out. Modern Warfare 2. Alright, for this game, I gotta give it to the Akimbo 1887s, even after the nerf. Listen, I remember playing this game as a 15-year-old, going against 30 to 40-year-old sweat lords running this, hearing their mom through the background of their mic calling them up for dinner. Being a secondary weapon, there really was no downside to running these things, and pre-nerf, it was basically a sniper rifle in a shotgun's body. Imagine a shotgun, but every single pellet is a sniper rifle round, and that's what you got for the pre-nerf 1887s. You basically put the enemy in your crosshair, and there's not much else to it. They're dead. There's nothing that can compete with it. After nerf, though, if you're within about 50 feet or so, really the weapon's range at all, there's no such thing as a hit marker. The only way you're getting a hit marker is if they're hiding behind a corner and their big toe sticking out, and that's about it. Now, as far as runner-ups go, I'd probably have to give it to the UMP45 just because of the versatility, and it being a 2-shot kill with stopping power. You can put rapid fire on that and just delete everybody pretty easily. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, what about the FAMAS, what about the ACR? Those guns were extremely dominant as well. For third place, I'd probably have to go with the FAMAS because it's the M16 from COD 4 with a higher fire rate, but I think the UMP was a little more versatile and a little more forgiving. But yeah, for this game, I just had to choose the Akimbo 1887s. When you ask somebody about Modern Warfare 2, the first thing they probably think of is this gun. Okay, this was a sweat lord's dream gun. This thing was unstoppable. Black Ops 1, the FAMAS. Now, I know what you're thinking. Some people are probably going to say I should have chose the Galil, but statistically, this was the fastest time to kill weapon in the entire game. Had a fire rate of around 950 rounds per minute, and it only took 3 bullets to kill, with 4 bullets at the longest damage ranges, which is the same as the Galil. The Galil just had a slower fire rate, and it was more accurate, so the Galil was probably a better option at the furthest ranges, but other than that, there really wasn't anything beating the FAMAS. You could outgun SMG players at close range, and Treyarch did end up nerfing this gun a little bit, but it was never to the point where it wasn't the best gun in the game still. I think the only thing they actually even nerfed was the recoil and made it a little bit worse. But yeah, the Galil was a close second pick. That is my runner-up for Black Ops 1, just like the FAMAS, but it just had a slightly slower fire rate, and it was a little more accurate. Both guns were extremely dominant throughout the entire life cycle of Black Ops 1. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, my favorite multiplayer Call of Duty of all time. I gotta give this one to the ACR 6.8. The Modern Warfare 2 ACR was extremely dominant, but this thing was just slightly better. It had a little bit slower fire rate, but it hit a lot harder. And really, this gun was neck and neck with the MP7 for my choice. I had to give it to the ACR just because of its sheer versatility. Performed a little bit better at longer ranges. This gun had an extremely fast time to kill and literally 0 recoil. It took 2 to 3 shots to kill, had a solid magazine size by default, and it performed well at every single range. This gun truly was the do-it-all, the jack-of-all-trades of Modern Warfare 3. Modern Warfare 3 was one of the few CODs where I feel almost every weapon in the game was usable and could compete with the other guns, but I do think the ACR and the MP7 stood above all the others. The gun also had extremely clean iron sights, so you didn't even need to run a reticle on it, and its reload speed was really quick. Combine all these things together, and what do you get? The best gun in Modern Warfare 3, and one of the best guns in COD history. Black Ops 2. I'll be honest, there was a lot of competition for this spot. The MSMC, the AN94, the FAL, the M8A1, but I think I have to go with the MSMC. To this day, this is still some people's favorite gun in COD history. Super clean iron sights, really quick reload, decent fire rate, and an extremely fast time to kill. This was an SMG that could compete at the shortest ranges and the longest ranges. I do think Black Ops 2 had some of the best weapons balancing in COD history, so again, this was one of the hardest choices to make. I mean, you even had the PDW, which was fantastic. But all in all, I just think the MSMC is the best all-arounder. Now for a runner-up, I think I gotta give it to the M8A1 because the thing was so dominant at long range and medium range. Only took 1 burst to kill. It was a 4-round burst, had a quick reload, and the recoil was extremely manageable. It was almost nothing. Black Ops 2 is widely regarded as most people's favorite Call of Duty multiplayer. And the MSMC being everybody's favorite gun from that game only makes sense to put it at the #1 spot. This game was the last game in the golden era of Call of Duty, coming out at the end of 2012, when everybody thought the world was going to end. And maybe it should have, because next we got Call of Duty Ghosts. No, I'm kidding, but seriously, the Honey Badger is probably going to have to be my pick for this game. It was between this and the Remington. It really depends what you're going for. The Remington was better at the longer ranges. The Honey Badger was better at the medium and short ranges. This thing had a built-in suppressor, so you could stay off the radar. Had a fast time to kill. I mean, everything did in this game, but had really clean iron sights. Super fast reload. It was basically an SMG AR hybrid. Now, the Remington's going to have to be my pick for the runner-up, just because it's a laser beam and it does extremely high damage. But overall, I think the Honey Badger was the best gun in the game all around. And to this day, it's still people's favorite weapon. When people think of Call of Duty Ghosts, they think of the Honey Badger because it was so iconic and so good. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, I think there's a clear winner here that almost everybody would agree with. It's the BAL-27. Probably the only thing that comes close is the ASM-1, more specifically the Speakeasy variant. But the BAL-27 was the best gun in the game, especially if you got the Obsidian Steed variant. This gun had super clean iron sights, super quick reload, a 32-round magazine that with extended mags would go up to 60 rounds, and it took like 3 bullets to kill. This thing was absolutely insane. There was really nothing stopping this weapon. This was the first Call of Duty to introduce the SPMM that we know today, and so from this point forward, you'd see the meta a lot more often than you would in the previous Call of Duties, which meant that you saw the BAL-27 a lot, hence why a lot of people called this game Battle of Duty. Yeah, like I said earlier, my runner-up's going to have to be the ASM-1, more specifically the Speakeasy variant. The gun was also extremely dominant, but I think the BAL beats it out. Black Ops 3. For this one, I got to go with the BWIII. Extremely easy gun to use. Consistently a 2-shot kill. You never had to aim down sight. Had extremely tight hip fire, especially if you had a laser on it. 12-round magazine, and a semi-auto shotgun. What more could you want? This gun lasted the entire life cycle of Black Ops 3 without getting a single nerf. Somehow, some way. And to this day, you get on the game, it's just too easy to use. It's too dominant. Back in Black Ops 3's heyday, if you joined a multiplayer lobby and saw someone using the BWIII, odds are everybody would start using the BWIII. It was one of those guns. I think the main thing that makes this the best gun in Black Ops 3 is how easy it is to use and its consistency and its time to kill. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. This is the only Call of Duty I don't own on PC, so sorry, not sorry. But I'm gonna have to go with the NV4, unless we're talking the pre-nerf Proteus variant that was literally built-in wall hacks. All around, NV4 is a solid gun. You started out with it, and it was kind of like the ACR. But it was just a little bit too good, and that's all I'm gonna say about Infinite Warfare. We'll move on to the next one. Call of Duty World War II. Game that finally brought us back to boots on the ground. For the best gun in World War II, I'm going to have to go with the PPSH. In the beginning of the game, I'd probably have to go with the bar, but after it got nerfed, it brought it down a little bit, and I think the PPSH became the better weapon. So the bar is going to have to be my runner-up. But the PPSH was extremely powerful in this game. It had really clean iron sights, it had a huge magazine. The fire rate was slower than the normal PPSH in other games, but still, this gun did so much damage it didn't really matter. It was a solid all-arounder that could do anything you needed it to do. Once you got into sweaty lobbies, it was pretty much this gun, the STG, or the BAR. Black Ops 4. Honestly, this was probably the hardest decision out of all the games so far. The Auger was completely dominant. The Vapor. You had the Titan LMG, which was insane. You had the Paladin sniper rifle, which could one-shot. It could even one-shot down UAVs. And it'll take a couple shots to shoot down most streaks in the game. That thing was absolutely ridiculous. I think I gotta give it to the Mozu. Secondary weapon, and I'm talking about with the Skull Splitter mod on specifically, which made it a one-shot kill to the head at any range. This gun you could put a reticle on, it had almost zero recoil, it was spammable, and with such a high time to kill, being able to one-tap anybody is extremely powerful. It was a little bit harder to use, so maybe it doesn't deserve the spot because of that, but I think if you got used to this gun, you were just dominating lobbies left and right. Like, there was almost no stopping you. I think I'll probably have to give the second spot, the runner-up spot, to the Grob, which is basically the Galil. Modern Warfare 2019. This is the game that brought back a lot of OG players to Call of Duty. Now, if I have to give it to one gun, I'm gonna have to go with the AS Val. Up until this point, the M4 was probably your best choice. It was all around amazing, so that is going to be my runner-up. But when the AS Val came out, I think it was the best gun in the game. If you ran it full auto, it had insane fire rate, extremely fast time to kill, and a quick reload. It was good at all ranges, but it had an ammo type which lets you switch it to a DMR basically, or a sniper, whatever you want to call it. And it was basically a 2-tap at any range, unless you went for the head, and it was a 1-tap. And when this thing first came out, it was broken completely. It had infinite wall piercing, so you just spray through the wall and you get a guaranteed kill. As many walls as you want. You could spray through the entire map and get kills. And even after they fixed that, AS Val continued to dominate and still continues to dominate to this day. And for this game, I want to give an honorable mention to the 725 because that thing was stupid as well. But I think all around, I'm going to have to give it to the AS Val and then runner-up M4. Call of Duty Cold War. This game, I'll be honest, I did not play as much as some of the other Call of Duties. But coming back now and trying out all these weapons, I'm going to have to say the Tech 9 is the best gun in the game. Now, to make it the best gun in the game, you kind of need to either have the 3-round burst or the full auto. This full auto is probably the best way to go. But with a 3-round burst, it completely just obliterates everybody on this game. The game is one of those other Call of Duty games to have a high time to kill. But with this gun, it feels like you're playing the OG COD with how fast they're killing people. It's just absolutely insane. I didn't have all the attachments unlocked, so this is as soon as I unlocked the 3-round burst, I started using it. This is my first match with it. You can see it's just so easy to get kills. And then I played against bots with the full auto just to show you guys that as well, but I didn't have that unlocked. It's easy to spam, it has little to no recoil, it has a quick reload, really good hip fire. And like I said for Black Ops 4, in a game with such a high time to kill, guns that can just put you down this quickly are just unstoppable. There's nothing you can do. Now for my runner-up, I'm going to have to give it to the LC-10, another gun that dominates the game still to this day. Vanguard. A lot of people hated this Call of Duty. I personally did not mind it too much. I see why people didn't like it, and I think one of the big reasons why people didn't like it was this thing combined with Piercing Vision perk. So the MWIII is my choice for Vanguard as the best weapon in the game, especially if you win it with Piercing Vision. This thing was literally legal wall hacks. You could spray through walls with the 50 cal ammo and see where the enemy was and then just beam him through the wall super quickly. This game had a lot of destructible and easily pierceable walls, so it was extremely easy to abuse this weapon along with the other LMGs in the game. And even without Piercing Vision, this gun was a 2 to 3 shot kill. With the 50 cal ammo, it was a 150 round magazine. And with Vanguard's gunsmith, you could easily build it to have almost no recoil at all. If we're taking Piercing Vision into account, I'm gonna easily have to give it to this gun. But otherwise, I'd probably have to give it to the Automaton, which is basically the ACR of this game. It's an all-around good gun. It's good at pretty much everything. But I just think this gun was just so overpowered. The perk Piercing Vision should have never made it into the game. And combined with this gun, it was just, there's nothing you could do at all. It was game over once you were running this thing. I clearly remember after this gun came out, dropping probably 40 nukes in the span of 2 to 3 weeks. It was just absolutely ridiculous. I haven't seen something this overpowered in a very, very long time. Next up, we have Modern Warfare 2 2022. Now for this game, I had a hard time deciding between the TAC-56 and the VASNEV, but ultimately I had to go for the VASNEV. This gun had pretty clean iron sights, it had a quick reload, super fast time to kill compared to other guns in the game. For an SMG, it could reach out pretty far, just pretty far distances. The SBMM in this game was at an all-time high, and basically when you got into sweaty lobbies, it was VASNEVs and TAC-56s all around. Combine that with both of these guns being in ranked play, and yeah, everybody was running these things, trying to become the next Shotzi or Skunk. And that is going to bring us to the current Call of Duty, which is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And for me, this is a pretty easy pick. I got to go with the MCW. Bringing the ACR back, I knew they were going to make it pretty overpowered. How could they not? You know, the fans would be pretty outraged if it wasn't. I don't think it's as good as the older ACR variants that we've seen, but it's still probably the best gun in the game. Easy to customize this thing to have 0 recoil, just like the older variants. You can run up to 60 round mag on it. It puts people down relatively quickly at all ranges. And it even comes with a Jack Raven aftermarket part that makes it a close range monster. So, yeah. Extremely versatile, good at everything in this game. There's really no reason it's the best gun in the game. And that is the best weapon in every Call of Duty since Call of Duty 4. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Is there anything you guys would change? Do you guys agree with my opinions or disagree? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Like the video if you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe for more Call of Duty content. Peace out.